What's good, everybody? You're here with your favorite sneakerhead art teacher, and today is episode 2 of Kicks and
Black, stop playing with it.
today we have Under Armour in the building. Let's introduce the guys.
My name is Reggie Wilson. I'm a senior footwear designer for Under Armour on the basketball team. I've been with the brand for June 1st. It will be, or May 31st. It will be 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, so my name is Mod Fielder, a color designer 1 for Core Run at Under Armour. Been working at UA since January 2021. So initially I was a contractor, then transitioned into full-time in February of 2022. So altogether it'll be 3 years now, just about.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Yuri Mile. I'm a creative director at Under Armour. Right now I'm over sports style footwear and also our partnership with Project Rock. I'm working on his footwear as well. And I've been at the brand, it's been 10 years actually. So August of 2013 is when I started. So yeah, a little over 10 years.
Wow, that's real longevity there.
Yeah.
Like 10 years.
Yeah.
Congrats on that. That's a milestone in itself.
Thank you, bro.
All right. So as always, guys, every episode, I love to see what you guys got on feet. I'll start it off because I actually missed it last time, but I am wearing you guys' Fat Tire. I actually really love the shoe. The comfort on this joint is incredible. And I'm not sure if a lot of people like the zip up, I guess the extension of the top to make it a high top, but that's probably one of my favorite parts. And I like wearing these with shorts. So I like to style them a little different, but this is what I'm wearing today.
Love.
Yeah, I guess I'm next. I haven't gone outside today. I haven't put any shoes on. I've been wearing socks all day.
Okay.
But the most recent pair of shoes that I wore, Spawn 6, the Black History Month collection.
Okay.
So kind of a little plug there while we're partially here to talk about. So, that was the most recent UA shoe I wore yesterday.
Yeah, those are fire though.
Cool.
Yep. Similar to Reggie, haven't been outside, but I guess I'll plug as well. Just the Phantom 3 SE, Black History Month collection as well. So those are pretty much the last shoe that I wore at the office. So
All right.
I actually did wear these earlier today. So this is authentic. When I'm wearing the Under Armour and the ASAP Rocky collabs, SR Lows. Yeah, they've been getting some good use lately. So
Yeah, those are hard. I feel like I don't think people acknowledge that shoe enough when he dropped it. Like that's a solid shoe. I mean, of course, some people might compare it to another brand, but I don't know. Them joints was straight nostalgia for me.
they were. I think it went over people's heads. That was actually the intention. Like they worked with like the original designer from I want to say it was Osiris, that brand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I ain't want to say the name.
oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, but no,
yeah.
I mean that was part of the story. So like I think it's one of those things where it wasn't like we just did it. Like that was part of the story. They worked with the original designer as well. Blessed and all that good stuff. But I definitely think it was ahead of its time because you look at what's on the market now.
Now I'm about to say, yeah, the line Vin is
Like it's all over the place. So in true fashion, I think we're a little bit ahead of its time. But it is what it is. So
yeah, still a fire shoe, definitely. All right, guys. So one of the things I like to do with this series is basically provide free game for individuals that may want to dive into what you guys are doing. So if you can tell me briefly about how you got into the industry, what steps you took, and how you got to basically where you are today.
I've been in the, industry for 8 years, like I mentioned earlier, but I guess it kind of started in high school. Always was into shoes and drawing and things like that. Didn't have any intention to go up to college, but it wasn't until like I was working at FedEx like right after high school. And I did that for like a few months, and I just realized, like, man, I'm not cut out for this. Like all the heavy labor and lifting stuff, I was too skinny for that. So I went back and started doing some research, and I found I was on Nike Talk at the time,
Okay.
like nostalgic website, and then I found
Yeah.
that footwear designers, they generally study like industrial design. So basically, the nearest school that taught that, I enrolled at the Art Institute of Philadelphia. Um, so I was there for 3 years, and after that, I got a job at Reebok as an apprentice, 1 year apprenticeship program. Uh, After that, I couldn't get a job, so I had to go humble myself, and I was working at Walmart overnight shift, putting bikes together, but still like entering like shoe competitions and stuff like that on the side. And then uh, Yuri, I went to school with at the Art Institute, he was at Puma at the time, and he was able to kind of help get my name in front of some people. And um, from there, I was able to land a role there. And I was at Puma for 5 years before, again, like Yuri was like, yo, you should come to UA. And then I came to UA, in part because I had a kid, and I'm from Baltimore and all that. So that played a part. Had a kid, and I'm from here. My family is from here. So it kind of made sense in a lot of ways. And
Yeah, facts.
I guess if Yuri goes somewhere else, then I guess I'll have to follow.
Okay.
But that's my story.
Dope. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Great opportunities and great people.
Yeah, yeah.
So first, so I'm originally from DC.
Okay.
So went to school at George Mason University. So I was actually studying bioengineering, which is completely different from like what I'm doing now. But just like found out that this wasn't meant for me, or just didn't want to do it for a living. So I mean, I always wanted to get into footwear and sneakers. And then like my uncle, he actually works at Nike. So just been like essentially just he's been my role model. So he's just been giving me game and like giving me insights on just the footwear industry in general, and then giving me networking opportunities, and just like making sure that, okay, like if you want to get into footwear, then talk to this guy. So
Yeah.
I want to say 2017, I came across this it was this course actually at Pencil in, I want to say, the summer of 2017. So it was a color and materials intensive program, and I was like, well, I might as well just participate, or I might as well just see if I can apply, and hopefully I could get in. And thankfully, I got in, I got accepted. They needed like a mood board and a 2-minute scholarship video, and I guess like the rest is history. So basically that definitely opened my eyes on just like color and materials. The Wayne Edwards, like he was just like giving me just like a lot of just knowledge on the footwear industry. Suzette Henry,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but
I know about
yeah,
Suzette.
oh for sure. Like, man, like Suzette, like she definitely gave me just like so many insights just on just like storytelling, and also just like how to build a color palette, and basically just like giving me just the avenue essentially on just like how to get into the footwear industry. So that's like the first step of getting to like color materials. Then I worked at Nike briefly. It was just a like an ETW position. It's like was there for about 3 months, and then due to budgeting, like they had to cut my contract,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So had to work at CBS for a little bit, just like during the pandemic. And then I want to say December of 2020, Shanika Warden, she was just she's like, hey, my like, this opportunity at UA. I know that you're looking for, for a job. And, thankfully, she gave me just a position or opportunity to go at UA or just to work at UA. So I started in January 2021 and, here I am right now.
That's fire. Like the
Yeah, but
opportunity, people always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it seems like, being in those positions for you and Reggie so far is like knowing somebody in the industry definitely helps out a lot in regards to getting in and making those connections. So
but
yeah.
it just taught me a lot, just how you just have to stay the course.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's just a long journey. And you just have to stay the course and, like patience is key.
All right, Yuri. Real quick before you jump in, Yuri, I gotta say something. I remember something, but I want to make sure I remember it the right way. But I remember vaguely, I was coming to class. I think I was late, to be honest. But I was coming to class. I think it was like art drawing or something. It was in a room with the big easels, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I was walking in, and if I remember correctly, you were like packing up. You seemed frustrated, and you was packing up. And then again, like I said, I was late, so it might have been the end of the class. But you were packing up, and you was like, I ain't doing this no more. Like, I'm leaving. I'm going to design sneakers. I remember, like, at least that part was like, I'm leaving. I'm going to design sneakers. I remember that, like, as a fact, as verbatim. But to see, like, for me to think back and remember that time and to see where you are now, like, bruh, that's so powerful. Like, that level of manifestation, but also just like determination to actually be like, F it. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. I just want to say, dog, that's powerful. That's always stuck with me. But like I said, the exact, like how it exactly happened, I don't want to say I don't remember it all, but maybe I might be fluffing this story. But I just remember coming in class, you packing up, and you was like, I'm out of here, dog. Like, I'm going to design shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of vaguely remember that too. That's really funny that you bring that up. Yeah. So, well, for your listeners that don't know, like Dorian and I went to school together initially. So we started off at the Virginia State University, and we both doing the graphic design program. And I was going there, and ultimately, like I even before I got there, like I knew I wanted to kind of be in that world, but I didn't know exactly how to go about it. And even when I did figure it out, kind of like late senior year, I already like committed, and I don't know. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do graphic design, because that was like kind of an avenue, but and I remember like I would gear all my projects kind of like towards like footwear stuff.
Yeah.
I was, I still have one of the paintings that I did. It was like these old like Adi sneakers. It was actually kind of a fire little like abstract kind of painting. But yeah, I always geared that stuff. But yeah, I mean that was an interesting time because, you know, you're in college and you're like, I was there for a year and a half, and I'm like, man, is this really gonna get me where I want to go? And it was a really tough decision because actually, bro, I was supposed to leave a whole semester beforehand, but I think I was kind of like scared because that was the first like real big decision I was making. Like, all right, here I am at Virginia State, living this like HBC life, enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, are people everywhere? Waking up to like the band, you could hear the band on the call. Like, I'm saying, like all that. Like, I grew up watching a different world. Like, so I was like, oh, this is all I ever wanted. But it was a part of me that was like, man, this is only gonna last for 4 years, and then like, then what? Like, what are you gonna do after that? If it's not really what you want to be doing, so that starts to like eat at me after a while, man. And so yeah, I definitely got to the point where I was like, all right, I gotta make some decisions. And yeah, so I don't fully remember that conversation, but because I remember the entirety of like the process of me kind of like battling myself, like, all right, am I gonna really leave this? Because I wanted to pledge, I wanted to do all these things, and I was like, man. So, but yeah, man, that definitely that's crazy that you remember that. But yeah, my story, grew up enjoying, sneakers, East Bay magazines, all that kind of stuff, kind of studying that stuff, and had artistic ability. So kind of fast forward to high school, kind of found out about industrial designing, what that is, and Still didn't necessarily act on it because I went to Virginia State for a little bit. But then after that, when I did decide to go, I left and went to Art Institute of Philadelphia, where I met Reggie as well, and did that whole program there. And, again, kind of focused everything towards footwear, which is good and bad, but definitely opened my understanding of just like design. I say getting like industrial design background, understanding like woodworking, metalworking, plastics, like just the whole thing of like mass production and like designing kind of like from the end backwards, like kind of understand like how, okay, you want to make this thing, how you going to make that? And that really helped. And that's, I think, a really big like quality that I think designers, especially like footwear designers, need to kind of have, because even when you draw stuff, like you kind of draw it, the end result, but you need to know how you got to it. So, so got a job at Puma, blessed to get a job. I got a job right out of school, freelancing. So I moved up to Boston, did that for like a year and a half. And then I got a full-time job there working on the run team. And then, did that for like another 3 years or so. And then 2013, like one of my bosses that hired me at Puma, he had actually already left, I think maybe in like 2012 or 2011. 2009, I think. 2010, he left Puma, to go to Under Armour. And around 2013, 2012, like he had reached out, like, hey, like you should come here. And so I made that transition, moved to Baltimore, and I've been here ever since. And it's been a blessing, kind of touching a bunch of different product, different categories, kind of working my way up. So it's been the longest like place I've ever been, which I know in our today's generation, like the culture is like you gotta get in and get out and get the bag. Yeah. I'm fortunate to still kind of do that without having to leave. I think there's something about having equity in your name in a place and what you've done, and people being able to kind of stand on that, and people kind of respect what you've done for a place. So yeah, man, that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
All right, so you said something that sparked this next question. You said you got to touch a lot of product, help out with a lot of products. What are some products or collaborations or shoes that you guys have worked on so far in your time with Under Armour?
Yeah. Hey, Reg.
I mean, kind of like what Yuri said, I've been all over the place at Under Armour. So, designed like for the last few years, I've designed Under Armour's Spawn basketball series. So it's like the longest running basketball franchise that Under Armour has. So been able to do that. I worked on the Joel Embiid shoe a few years ago, basketball shoe. So that was a cool experience, getting to meet him and all that. I'm actually going blank right now. I've done volleyball shoes, like I've been all over the place, run. So I guess probably the biggest one is the Embiid, I guess.
Okay. Would you say that's your favorite project?
It's probably one of the most memorable.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite in a weird way, but yeah, I don't honestly, I don't even know what I would consider my favorite shoe that I've done at UA, but I would definitely say working on the Embiid series is definitely one of the most interesting, eye-opening, unique experiences. I'll remember that process and that experience forever.
I mean, my experience is pretty minimal, just from being at UA for about 3 years. But Black History Month for 2024, that was probably like the biggest project that I've been a part of, and also just being with the team, just like just looking up to Yuri and Reggie, and then also just like getting their insights on like what to expect, just because they've been a part of the experience of BHM.
Yeah.
So I say like that experience was definitely pretty big for me, and then also just doing some color design work for De'Aaron Fox for the season as well. So that was like pretty cool, just to work on like the player exclusives and, just to meet with him and, get his perspective on like different colorways and like the storytelling aspect and perspective of that whole process. I thought that was pretty cool. So those are like the two biggest projects so far.
Okay. So like when you met with him, did he already have like colorways in mind that he wanted to do, or y'all just chopped it up and then you created some designs for him?
So we created a deck that revolved around just his life, just the things that he loved, and the basketball team. We just pretty much, just created just a whole, just like a plethora of just different stories. And okay, they're like, all right, well, how do you create a colorway that revolves around like these stories, and just like how to make it more compelling, and then also like how do you make it stand out? So I think that was like a good challenge for me as well, just like not only just from a color perspective, but also just like finishes. So I think like that was pretty cool.
Okay.
So like meeting up with him and it's like, okay, well, is this accurate? So I think that was like the key. That was essentially the key for us. Okay, like is this accurate enough, for you to like, wear it on the court, and like, are you satisfied? Like, are you content with it? So I think that was like the huge key for us. Like that was pretty crucial. So, but that was a really good experience for sure.
All right, Yuri, Mr. Mayo.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, definitely working on a lot of stuff. In terms of collaborations, I'll say my favorite kind of collaboration was probably the Black History Month collection in 21, where we partnered with Baltimore's own Devin Allen. That was a really cool and highly meaningful collaboration, in my opinion. I mean, he's from Baltimore. He's like, at this point, I would say I think he's kind of world renowned at this stage, but he's a photographer, an artist, activist, all that kind of out of Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he also, it's funny, he actually like works at Under Armour too, which is cool. So he was able to kind of get his own collection, and so I got to work on the footwear with that and really kind of connect with him and understand just like, try and embody in a physical way like what he's trying to do with his photography and what the essence of his work is, and kind of like translate that into footwear, which was really cool. And the collection, like I said, came out in 2021. It was a lot of the apparel was dope because it's really simplistic in terms of it just being like his photographs that he did, especially for us, and really talking about just the city and the resiliency of just our people, and how that kind of intersects with sport. And I thought that was really dope. And so got to do a little collection, maybe like four styles. And that transcended like even the Curry style. I think it was the Curry 8. Some other like sports style or like lifestyle stuff, and like some run stuff. So it was really, really cool and meaningful. So that's probably my top one.
Okay. Dope. One of the things I believe everybody touched on was Black History Month. One of the reasons that, we even wanted to have this meeting was to talk about the 2024 Black History Month collection. Now, I know, you guys were all on the team. How did that work? And for somebody on the outside looking in, what's that process like from start to finish, from, I guess, ideation to reality? Like, how long does that normally take? And, what were you guys' roles during the process?
Basically, it was just inspired by like quilting. So basically, I just wanted to just find a tradition that we aren't aware of, especially just like us as Black people, and also just like the Black community. And then also just notice how like my grandmother, she has like this quilt. And then just from talking to her and also just doing a lot of research, I just realized like the whole quilt just tradition, just we pass it on just from generation to generation. I thought that was like pretty intriguing. Like I thought it was pretty interesting. I was like, oh, okay, well, how do I incorporate that into, this year's Black History Month collection? And so just the whole inspiration just it expanded. So just I was inspired by, Black portraits, that has like, or essentially like contemporary quilting. And I was inspired by like Disa Butler's work and how like
I
I'm sorry.
love her. No, I
Oh
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
ever check her work out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, very much so. Like, I mean, Disa Butler, like she's a legend. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so like just her work and how like she just tells a story just using like multiple art pieces. I thought that was like pretty dope. And then just started reading the book Black Threads and how it just shows just the history of Black quilting, just how they created quilts from slavery, and also just having it for like a form of expression,
Mm-hmm.
and also just like having like signals as well, which I thought was pretty interesting too. Just like how to navigate within the plantation. And then definitely needed some help, so I had to call the Avengers, which is like Yuri, Reggie, Ed, and like I said before, like I said moments ago, just like get their insights and their perspective on just like how to go about this collection as a whole. And so we all came together, and also Nate Thomas, you did a great job on the print. But just like how do I make this story come to life, essentially? And so I think that we all definitely did a great job on just capitalizing that, and then also just creating incorporating the HBCU component of it too, just as far as like collegiate branding and just like using the HBCU colors just to represent each HBCU in the country as well. So that was pretty much just the whole synopsis of like how the inspiration came about.
And so with you being like with materials and storytelling, like what's that process like? Like what materials did you go through? What did you think of? Like when you were creating the patterns, or when you seen the patterns, like did you already know like what kind of materials you wanted to, or did you go through like a whole deck of different types of materials to get the right feel and vibe for the shoe?
For this particular collection, it was just mostly just like color and print.
Okay.
So we wanted to figure out how to go about the material aspect or material component, but I think the process was just too late, and so we just wanted to just solely focus on like color and print, just to tell that story. So like we wanted to like emphasize, especially just on the print itself, like making sure that that stood out, like for each shoe. So that was pretty much like what we wanted to emphasize for this season or this collection.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I think Yuri and I came in a little bit later in the process. So we have like these big meetings like every season, like call them like LR1. That's where first time we're seeing samples. So they had already kind of had like the story, like Nate and I think Nate and a couple other people, they already had the story kind of like laid out. And that's when like Yuri and I came in. But like I think like the color palette was even different by the time we came, it was more like pink and green and all that. So we just kind of wanted to like elevate the story a little bit more. So kind of like what Ahmad was saying, like when we came in, it was like, how do we elevate that story? How do we like look at materials and things like that? So I had never even heard about the quilting and like how important that was, and I guess in Black culture and historically. So when I actually found out about it, like we were talking about, I think we talked about it, and then we're getting up to speed on the story. And I was actually watching like reruns of Family Matters, and like one of the first episodes of the show, they were talking about like the importance of quilting and all that stuff. So we knew that we had like this bold graphic that we wanted to incorporate that Nate created. So it was just like that graphic and print is really bold. So we didn't want like to have this crazy print and then like crazy colors and stuff like on top of it. So that's why we kind of went with the more like the blacked out uppers or the blacked out shoe and just like strategically place that graphic in a way that it still feels wearable.
Yeah.
So and that kind of also inspired some of the material choices, trying to go with like where we could, like leathers and suedes and things like that. So it was another way to try to elevate the story and the feel of the product.
I would just add that I think in general, when we're doing these collections, like we're taking a bunch of different styles from the overarching like product line. And so they all kind of, again, we're still like a performance company. And so it's like you want to be able to take the story and implement it, but you also don't want to sacrifice like the performance of whatever it is that you're applying it to. And so, some shoes like that were knit, we weren't going to change that because that might, affect the performance of the shoe. So keep that, but we might elevate that knit by using a different yarn that has like maybe multicolors or something like that. So just kind of being smart about how do you tell your story and be inspired by, what you're inspired by and allow that to also like integrate with the product in a way that just enhances it, but doesn't take away from, what people might be intending to do with it. So.
Yeah, the collection, I had the chance to take a look at the collection. I think it's fire. I think it's very unique. I would say the hoodie in regards to apparel is probably one of my favorite pieces because it's kind of like that Letterman jacket and then also like the, because it's like cut in half, but it's like that, like you were saying about the fabrics and the quilting and all that, like that's the lower half. I'll post a picture for those that can't see inside my brain that's watching this, but I really think it's I like how you kind of tied that together, like basically making an African and American culture by the Letterman jacket, and then also bringing the African culture with the patterns and everything at the bottom. Also, I'll probably say favorite piece of footwear out of there is the Spawn 6. I love the little, I guess, the gray swirls that's all in and around it. Like I think that it gives it motion. It makes it provides that motion, but I also like the placement of the colors, of the details of the quilting design. Like I really feel like it was definitely well put together.
Yeah, and that's kind of to like Yuri's point, like that we call that the upper portion.
Yeah.
All the swirls and things like that. That was part of the like the inline, the regular version of the shoe. So I knew that having that crazy graphic pattern and then mix that with the BHM color graphic that we created, it would be too busy. So that's why we kind of like muted the upper. It's still there. It's still it has a textural play and you can kind of see it, but it's kind of plays in the background compared to the graphic that's on the bottom of the shoe with the clear rubber. So
I'll definitely say it's well put together. It's one of those on and off court wearables instead of just just performance. I could see people rocking this outside because it literally can go with anything. And if you want to put on something with a pop of color, you got the color in the sole of the shoe. So the design, congratulations. I think you killed it. Like that. I'll say it's definitely fire.
Appreciate it.
So Reggie, with the Black Futures project, like how long have you been working on that? And congratulations on grabbing the attention of Disney and having that also involvement in Awaju. Like how did that program get started?
This collaboration with Disney and Awaju started with me pitching the Black Futures project internally at Under Armour. The objective of the Black Futures program is all about developing the future of Black creative talent. And I reference Awaju. I'm still trying to wrap my head around creating product that will be in a Disney animated show.
That all started in 2020. Everything that was going on, like police killings, like I think was it Arbery, like the guy that was like one of the Okay, yeah. The guy that was like running and then he was like killed by like some
Yeah.
yeah, people. So there was like so many things that are happening in 2020. And um part of and you think about COVID, everybody was like at a standstill. We were just all bottled up. And I was just trying to think of like a way that I can like give back. And I knew that there was a lot of talk about diversity and how can we change that. So one of the ideas that I had was like, how can we like elevate and like bring more like Black people into our industry. So I came up with this idea around like Black Futures. Like we obviously have a Black History Month. Like originally started as like, oh, we should do a Black Futures Month. Because while I think Black History Month is like cool and important, there's always this level of like looking back. And I like the idea of like looking forward. So and when you think about the future, for me, I always think about like technology and I think about like the youth. So like how could we bring more young people in? And it basically turned into like this program where we were able to carve out um like extra slots for our rookie program of like Black designers. So um working for a big corporation like Under Armour, like every time we bring in interns, like that's actually like a dollar amount because we got to pay those interns and relocate them and all that. So I pitched the idea of the Black Futures program to my bosses, and all these people. They, granted like the extra head count. And basically uh during that process, I was like, as I was pitching the program, I pitched it to so many people within the organization. And one of the people that I pitched it to was I forget her name, but she was in charge of like communication. And so I was telling her in one of my slides in the presentation, I had something about Awaju because Disney had just announced Awaju. She was like, oh, this is really cool. I actually guy named Brendan Miller that works under me, he knows people at Disney. So like
Oh,
that'd be great if you told them about it. So we were able to get on a call with Disney and told them about the Black Futures program, what we were doing, and we had just wrapped up. We were finishing up one of the Black History Month collection for 2023, and a lot of the colors that we had chose for 23 looked like what was going on in Awaju. So they really, really liked it. The idea of doing something because we were thinking about Black futures, and Awaju was kind of based around like this futuristic Nigerian society. So fast forward, we were able to like design like some footwear that went into the show. And then we were also like we helped out on like the apparel that one of the guys was wearing in the show. So that was a really cool experience. So got to talk to people at Disney, went to Disney, got to see like the animation studios and things like that. So it was just like a really, really cool process. And when you asked me earlier what was my favorite like shoot that I've done at UA, I would say that's not a shoot, but that project is
yeah.
the greatest thing that I've done at UA because I think it has the biggest impact. Because like we've been continuing running this Black Futures program for the past like I guess like 3 years now.
Yeah.
So it is something that to me is more important than any shoe that I've designed. We were actually able to hire one of the people from the first class of rookies, so which we call interns.
Yeah.
So that to me is the most meaningful thing that I've ever, I would say, done in my career. Like not only did I think something cool come of it, but I was able to play a part in bringing somebody into the organization, a full-time job, and now she like has a job and can continue her her career and things like that. So that is what I'm the most proud of.
My daughter, she's seen the preview for Iwaju, and I was like, why that look familiar? And then I remember Yuri had posted on his story, I guess your interview where you talking about working with them and the design process. I was like, that's kind of crazy. Like, cause I was unfamiliar with the movie. And so she was like excited. And she started watching it yesterday. And I was like, oh, I have an interview with one of the guys that helped with design work on the movie. She was like, what? Oh my God. I was like, yeah, he works for Under Armour. He did some of the footwear and apparel. She was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And so I'm like, the impact is bigger than just, probably than because like the movie, or not the movie, I'm sorry, the series is going to open a lot of eyes. And I feel what you're saying about it being like the biggest project you're doing, because or that you've done so far, because it's kids that's going to be excited about, of course, technology and future and everything, but just the fact that you had your hand involvement in parts of it, like, that's major, bro. So big congrats on that, because that's fire. That's fire.
Yeah, I mean, it was a dope experience. And sometimes when I think about it, like, it all just started because I had like this idea, like, man, I should do this Black Futures thing. And then all these things just kind of fell into place because I put myself out there, took a risk. It's like definitely kind of weird trying to pitch this idea to a bunch of like middle-aged white executives at UA. But it worked out. So it was cool.
Like they say, you miss every shot you don't take, and I'm happy you took that shot. That's major. Not like I said, not just for you, but for the culture, for kids that's growing up, that's looking at the show or even watching this now. Like it's a major life change for not just you, but a lot of people.
Appreciate it.
One of the things I want to ask about is impact. Like we talked about everything with YSU, the Black Futures, and Black History, but working with Under Armour, how would you say Under Armour sets itself aside from like your competitors? Like what makes them stand out, or what makes them different?
I'll say one of the main ones that I think is definitely like I don't even know if we fully capitalized on it, but I think some of the origin story of the brand is kind of cool and where we're located, right? So if you think about most footwear brands, like the big brands, like they're kind of in non-urban areas in terms of like where they're located, or in Oregon, right?
Boston.
And right. And so we're in Baltimore. Germany, right? And so us being a brand that is, born in Baltimore, there's a certain grit, there's a certain like edge to it that I can appreciate. I like that when I go to work, as I drive to work, like I see a lot of people that look like myself. It could be more, I think, once I get to work, but in terms of when I'm there, so there's that. But I think that's something that definitely is a differentiator for sure, that I think we're still trying to navigate how to really tap into that, because I think that we are the culture in a lot of ways and set the tone. And I think the more we kind of own that and utilize the resources and just like all the amazing things that are happening in our back doors, or our backyard, I should say, and start to tap more into that, I think that's a huge differentiator.
I would definitely agree. Like what you saying, just being in Baltimore, that's a major change. Like, of course, you guys being there helps the city of Baltimore, and those that know the history of the city of Baltimore know that it went through a lot. So just being there helps build the community back up. So that's one. But yeah, I think you guys being there is one, dope, unique, and I think it should. Like I don't know a lot. I don't know that a lot of people know that you guys are there, and I think that might be a story you guys could lean into a little more. And I don't know, different ways: apparel, footwear, short film. Who knows? Like just what have you. But I think that's like one of the things that is the game changer in the industry, because like you said, a lot of the big brands are in suburban, predominantly white areas, or and you guys are, like you said, in Baltimore, and that level of grit, determination, and perseverance is there in Baltimore and through the brand.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. Hopefully one day, hopefully we can lean into that a little bit more.
So is there anything you guys are working on that you kind of want to touch base on, or have folks look out for? And if it's confidential, I thoroughly understand. But if there's anything you guys are working on that you want to announce to the world, please let them know. And also let them know where they can find you if you wish to be followed, but where they can find you and check out some more of your work.
I'll jump in. I mean, kind of like what we've been talking about, like the Black History Month and all that stuff. So I think a lot of that stuff is still on the website. So definitely go check that out. Definitely helps to keep it in the line, because at the end of the day, this is all a business. So we definitely need like the support and all that. So people can go out and support the Black History Month collection in 2024, not just this year, but all the years that allow us to continue to do stuff like this, which is meaningful and I think important. I mean, if I'm gonna get into specifics, it's like I have like we just talked about the Spawn 6 that just came out. I think they're doing some stuff around that for March Madness, so definitely check that out. Reggie Wilson RJ, that's what it is. Reggie.Wilson.RJ.
For me, I mean, it's always so much going on. It's sometimes it's like, Reggie would always, I feel like say this a lot, but like we do work in the future in terms of, the season. So currently working on fall winter 25. So it's like sometimes forget what's coming out now, because you're already thinking so far in the future. But just in general, definitely have a couple projects out now that I think I'm excited about and think are good. One of them is Adventure Pro, that recently released. So that's kind of like a little brother to the Fat Tire.
Yeah, that's when I seen the video for that, I was like, yeah, I gotta grab that. It's a red. It's not really red, but I'm sure kind of.
That colorway is top.
I love that colorway, dog.
That's my favorite too.
So I'm definitely about to pick that up. But yeah, like that's fire.
Yeah, so that's dropping, and then just in general, man, like we're cooking, like, brands always go through all sorts of stuff, and so there's just a lot happening in the inside the walls of UA right now. So it's definitely an exciting time in terms of just new blood, new energy, new designs, kind of really, in a sense, like reestablishing who we kind of are again. And so being able to work on that process is really exciting. It's a lot of work, a lot of time and energy, but definitely excited about what's going to come from that. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I think a lot of that stuff's going to start dropping it's like a year from now. So it's kind of like long to say, but it's exciting, and hopefully, we kind of, the brand brings everyone along and starts to tease some of the stuff too. So, but yeah, some exciting stuff coming.
Yeah, Black History Month stuff, 2024, just, being a part of something that's just like meaningful and impactful in the Black community, I think it was like pretty pivotal for me. And then leaders, actually forgot to mention that, but also help do the color design work for the Leaders Curry collab.
Okay.
That happened like 2 months ago for basketball. So I think that was a pretty cool opportunity for me as well. I believe it's still on the website. I'm not sure, on the Leaders website.
Okay.
So you can check that out. But similar to Yuri, just like working on stuff for like fall winter 25 right now. So for like core run, so adult, youth. So it's it's taking up a lot of my time, but nonetheless, it's been pretty cool so far. But yeah, just right now, just enjoying the journey. Honestly, just enjoying the journey of just being at UA, and just being in the footwear industry in general. And for me, I'm still continuing to learn. So I think that's just like a huge step and a huge opportunity for me, just to,
Yeah,
just to talk to people and just to gain more insights and also just to network more. So I think that's like really crucial and really pivotal for me as well. So
now, is there any piece of information that you guys would want to leave to anyone watching right now, if they're interested in helping them get into the industry?
I'll go. I'll say, I think in today's, access to information, social media, all the platforms available, it's like there's probably more people who are getting in the industry now who may not even had a quote unquote formal education in design per se. There's a lot
Mhm.
more specialized programs. Before we started recording, we were talking about pencil and all that stuff. So definitely a lot of opportunities, I think, for people who have an interest. I think a lot of resources via online. I mean, Instagram alone. I mean, you're able to see what a lot of talent, what people are doing out there,
Yeah,
and things like that. I think, also beyond just seeing like the imagery of stuff, because I don't know that people really show like their process a whole lot. I do think, still going to websites like Behance and looking at like kind of people's like portfolio projects is really good, because it not like, IG is going to give you the highlight reel of like the finished
mhm.
design and whatnot. But when you find that same project on Behance, you'll see like there's a lot more to the story in terms of inspiration, what the insight is, their thought process. Because I think that's the biggest thing, is like making sure you show your work.
yeah,
So I think that's the biggest thing, is like understanding what the competition, I guess, kind of looks like with the bar, what
yeah,
the bar is, and definitely doing your due diligence there, trying to learn as much as you can for free, because I think there's a lot of free game out there, um,
definitely.
and just kind of like studying it, spending the time, learning your craft, and also shooting your shot and reaching out to people. Again, social media. I mean, you're gonna post our handles. People definitely reach out to us all the time about opportunities, or just feedback in general. We're definitely like, I think all of us have benefited from having people who've helped us, who kind of reached back and given us insight and advice, and we're definitely following suit with that. So I think with those steps, just depends on your work ethic and how much you want it.
And like Yuri said, like I've reached out to him a ton of times just in the past few years, with me flirting with the idea of becoming a footwear designer, me working on the process of becoming a footwear designer. Like, he's giving me, drop some gems, tell me about opportunities. Like you said, feel free to hit him up. But um, also, one thing I guess I've learned during this process is also, for those watching, do your research. Know what it is that you actually want to do, um, and lean into that and find individuals who do that. LinkedIn has helped me out a lot too in identifying individuals. But to go back to Yuri, like, he's a wealth of knowledge. And he's helped me a lot through my process as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would just add on to what Yuri is saying, is like with corny, cheesy phrases like your network is your net worth. You
It's
know,
a fact though.
yeah, hard work beats
Mhm.
talent any day. All these like phrases, like they're corny, they're like stereotypical, but there's a lot of meaning behind it. I think definitely stand up on what's like current, like learning and understanding like what's happening and how people are using like new skills and new programs and things like that. I think AI is
Crazy.
is already changing like a lot of things and like how we do things. Like Yuri and I just had like a design review last week, and like some of the designers are kind of looking at some of that stuff. So, and it's just changing the way we work. So definitely stay up on that. Obviously, like traditional skills help, like sketching and things like that, but that is something that is like definitely need to be on Gravity Sketch, like you mentioned a little bit earlier. But yeah, I mean, just kind of like you said, like shoot your shot, like put yourself out there. I've done the same thing several points when I was trying to get up to where I am now. So uh yeah, do that. And then at the same time, like while someone is like helping you out, whatever information that you have, it's probably more than somebody else behind you have. So like as you're like lifting your hand up to like, you know, get a handout from not a handout, but like somebody help you out, also do the same for somebody else. So that's one of the things that I try to do. Feel like it's a responsibility, especially as Black men, Black people, like I don't know. So if you can help pull somebody else up, we always talk about we want the diversity numbers and all that type of stuff to go up. Like nobody else cares about it as much as we do. So if we want to see change, like we need to do it ourselves. So
I think for me, the key to like getting into the industry is just like honing my craft as much as possible. And just like from a color designer perspective, it's just like uh I think just being aware of your surroundings and also just like learning how to story tell. I think that's like one of the things that I try to just make sure that it's more meaningful and more impactful. Just like with any just project that I'm working on. So I think that's pretty much like something that I want to like make sure that how does the product, relate to the consumer as much as possible. So but I think, yeah, like honing your craft and then also just like networking, like networking is definitely key as well. So just like taking advantage of just the people that you know, and then also just not just well from a color designer perspective, not just meeting with color designers, but also meeting with other people within the industry, just to have that knowledge. So like, communicate with footwear designers, even communicate with apparel designers, communicate with developers, and just like see how the process is made. So I think that was also something that I wanted to make sure that I had that breadth of knowledge as well. So
thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you guys. This was our second episode of Kicks and with Under Armour. And I'll see you guys next week for the next one. Peace.